Everyone knows that you're not supposed to drink and drive. I mean, obviously. They start telling you in 4th grade, and you nod along wide-eyed because you can't imagine ever being stupid enough and awful enough to drink at all, much less drink and drive. You make posters about how dumb it is. They hang them in the elementary school hallway. For the next few years, you basically assume that you'll drop dead the second you're even in the same room as someone drinking a beer, and you solemnly swear you'll never be that stupid. But then in 8th grade, you're hanging out at the park shelter waiting for something interesting to happen, and your best friend pulls out a cigarette she's stolen from her mother and dares you to smoke it. And you do, because the cute boy from your math class there is watching, and you feel brave and strange, and you're half convinced that you'll be addicted within seconds of your first puff, if not dead. But nothing happens except the boy's eyes widen slightly and your best friend looks at you with new interest, like you have all kinds of potentials she never saw in you. And then maybe you have another cigarette at a party later that spring, standing out beyond the lights of the back porch, talking to a different cute boy, and he offers you a sip of his beer, and you don't die, you just giggle a lot. And you start to suspect that all of the stuff that they told you in 4th grade was a little exaggerated. Not that you'd ever do heroin, but maybe cocaine or something, because you probably wouldn't die. And your teacher made you believe that there would be trench-coated junkies hanging around the schoolyard, but then she always used articles with drugs like the marijuana, and belted her polyester pants just under her rib cage, so maybe she wasn't the best source of information about illegal drugs. But obviously you don't drink and drive. They start telling you that again in high school, making you watch videos where a kid piles 15 of his best friends into a big yellow van and then drinks half a PBR and drives off a cliff, killing everyone but himself, and then living with that guilt for the rest of his awful life. What they don't tell you is that sometimes you might not care about the side effects, and that they might not be such a bad trade-off if it means getting the hell out of your own head for a little while and letting go of that breath you're always holding, that tiny bit of pudge on your belly that you're sucking forever in. If for one stupid night you can stop worrying about what people think about you, watching every word that you say. And maybe that night as you're holding an ugly plastic cup and listening to everyone have the exact same conversation as last weekend, and you're inside your head thinking all the same thoughts. And sometimes you kind of hate your friends. Sometimes you really kind of hate yourself. And maybe you wouldn't mind getting hurt or going into a coma or something. And what they don't tell you in 4th grade is that if everyone's drunk and the least drunk person offers to drive, it makes some kind of crazy sense. Everyone might even congratulate themselves on how responsible they're being. They don't tell you that the whole impaired judgment thing means that you'll make decisions that you wouldn't make sober, and that you'll probably think they're good ones. Or you'll know they're bad, but you won't even care anymore because it's such a stupid night and all you want to do is go home. Because maybe your best friend was making a total slut of herself with a college guy and then disappeared for an hour, leaving you to make small talk with her brother and drink the rum and cokes that he keeps handing you until you can hardly see straight and you can't stop thinking about what a stupid whore your best friend is. And what if you're actually no different because you're the one who agreed to go to a college party even though your boyfriend had to go to a funeral in Kansas this weekend? And what if he comes back on Monday and hears rumors about what happened at the party even though nothing did, it was a total bust. You just sit there talking to your best friend's brother while everyone else is paired off in dark corners, and you sit on the couch getting drunker and drunker, listening to him talk about some Boy Scout trip he went on in 9th grade. No kidding, he will not shut up about hiking in Philpott or something, like anyone seriously cares, and about how he found God or something. Though, actually, when you think about it, it's kind of sexy to hear a guy talk about God. And the way he's describing the desert sky is amazing. Seriously, just beautiful, and you really don't mean to kiss him, but it just sort of happens. And then suddenly she's standing over you with this look of horror, this gleeful, triumphant horror. And she's your best friend, but what if she calls your boyfriend to tell him what she just saw? Even though it was nothing, you can see it in her eyes, she's gonna tell him. Because she's always had a crush on him, even though she denies it. And you're running through this house to find your other best friend because you're not gonna stay in the house any minute longer. And when you finally find her, she's half-dressed, barely conscious, and you grab her purse and keys and shirt and drag it out of the frat house with your other best friend, the bitch, at your shoulder saying, "What about Jake? How could you do that to him? And obviously you shouldn't drive. Of course you shouldn't, but you're all drunk and you don't even care anymore. You just want to go home, and if you all die in a horrible fiery crash, then fine, great, because you cannot let her tell your boyfriend about what did not happen, and it's also fucking pathetic and tedious and awful." They don't tell you about that part in 4th grade. But maybe they should.